Spiritual awakening tips and recommendations, areas that are vital for our transformation. There are specific methods and areas to attend to in our spiritual awakening journey and other areas to avoid that you'll find surprising, that will help us integrate, expand, and gain the most out of our spiritual awakening journey. This is an ongoing process through this life and beyond, not a finality or a one-time event. And the continuation occurs in layers. One experience can be profound as an extreme experience, while other experiences often are moderate or mild. People can get frozen in the process, which means they can stop growing or even regress based on their choices and the methods they're using or not using. I've known two people who had powerful and profound life-changing and altering experiences that resulted in them having healing gifts, understanding different dimensions, and predictive insights, who lost all of their abilities. There were two reasons for their regression. One was they had early life trauma that was significant, that they did not heal, and as a result, their trauma responses negatively influenced decisions. This resulted in a loss of abilities, and worse, in my opinion, they had a semi-willingness or complete lack of willingness to acknowledge they had lost their abilities. In mental health, this is called agnosognosia. They also were fooling themselves and deceiving others. This was a great learning lesson for me. Here is number one. Have a reliable roadmap and methods in place during the journey of spiritual awakening, because it's not only an ongoing process through life, but calls upon us to do specific practices that engage benefits so we can embody the experiences wholly for our transformation. The content shares the different areas that serve integration, centering, expansion, and progress based on years of working with people and my own spiritual awakening journey. Number two is keep a journal about your experiences. Often when we write, we remember more information, and writing also helps to document experiences and also for rereading to notice patterns, forgotten components, and sometimes even things that seem surprising to us. Recording the date, the kind of experience, as from visiting a location that was a catalyst, in a meditation, an illness, out-of-body experience, after-death communication, communication with other species, intuitive or psychic experience, a dream, and was the dream a lucid dream or a dream walking experience? And if you don't know what dream walking is, you can learn more about that in the video, Spiritual Awakening Dreams. There'll be a link below. Another area to attend to is sensory. Identify the different sensory systems involved in your spiritual awakening experience. Was the experience auditory, as in an intense musical experience? Was there a spiritual teacher? Was there communication from a being? Was there thought transference or telepathy? Were there knowings? Was there touch? Was it visual, odors? Was there seeing, remote viewing, predictive, or another type of experience? Adding this information to your documentation in the notation also is helpful. A question to ask is, what were the feelings associated with the experience? I'm emphasizing feelings because a lot of times people are not aware, or they don't want to be aware they're feeling. Feeling would be that you felt peaceful, energized, expanded, fearful, or even combinations of different feelings. And was the experience generated from a stressful experience? Sometimes people have an experience that catapults them out of their ordinary reality, that changes their perspective In mental health, this is called disassociation. In spiritual awakening experiences, this is a way to access a greater knowing. I wanted to give this example. This is called Bill's out-of-body experience that saved his life. Bill was a combat veteran during his OBE. His partner in combat were surrounded by people with weapons, and they had no knowledge of how to get out of the situation. Bill and his partner determined they were going to lose their lives, as they knew there was no way out and there was gunfire all around them. Just when they thought all was lost, in a flash, Bill had an out-of-body experience. Bill's grandmother showed up and gave him an overhead view of where they were, sort of like being in a drone, and revealed there was only one passage that led to safety. Since they had no other options, they took that route and survived to tell the story. And number 4 is sleep. Getting enough sleep each night helps us to stabilize all of our systems and each of our organs. And sleep is restorative to our physical body as well as our mental and emotional states. Getting good sleep and deep sleep allows our psyche and spirit to process and also travel. Missing sleep is also not recommended, as we can't recapture lost sleep. A routine for getting to sleep is helpful, with an aim for the same time each night. And that helps our body to be conditioned to go into sleep. Connected with sleep is dreams. Another aspect of sleep that is reliable and vital component of our spiritual development is through our dreams. Some people have spiritual awakening dreams, which you can learn more about in the video Spiritual Awakening Dreams. And dreams are useful for specific practices to develop insight, creativity, problem solving, knowing, and deeper connection to our inner spiritual wisdom. Foods. During our spiritual awakening journey, it's important for us to consume nourishing food and beverages, and it's a significant contribution to staying balanced and centered. Foods and good water are stabilizing medicine to all of our systems and contribute to also good sleep, staying mentally and emotionally balanced, and for making good decisions. Often people who are having difficulty are not aware their nutritional intake and lack of nutrition contribute to anxiety, depression, and not being able to get good sleep, feeling cranky and out of balance. The opposite of healthy nutrition is fast food, junk food, highly processed foods, foods with high sugar, salt, saturated fat content, and too much food. Being a vegetarian or vegan is not beneficial if the person does not know how to get protein from non-meat sources, or if they just eat processed foods. Healing trauma. When we have trauma, trauma can be passed from us, from our families. We can experience trauma as an individual in our life, or there also can be generational trauma that are things that may be not spoken, sometimes forgotten, and sometimes these emotions, thoughts, behaviors manifest in being over-controlling, not even realizing it, feeling lack of courage, resistance, or personal sabotage. Working with someone who is trusted, who does not judge spiritual awakening experiences as fantasy or a mental health disorder is an important ally to navigating through these experiences, and can engage practices that continue to release trauma. Specific sound healing practices that facilitate accessing restorative states of consciousness, which is alpha and deeper states than our waking consciousness, are beneficial for releasing trauma from the neurological system. Another aspect of this is our blind side or shadow. Working with our blind side or shadow is releasing distortion that interferes with our spiritual awakening journey and advancement. Growing through these distortions allows us to take ownership and release tied up energy that is then available to us in other ways. Because someone has experienced one or many spiritual awakening experiences, whether they're mild, moderate, or extreme, does not mean their issues are resolved, they do not have lessons or a blind side. Grounding. Grounding has different meanings, and there are different kinds of grounding practices. Specific grounding practices that do not connect to any physical organs or chakras are beneficial. Connecting to our grounding every day is a commitment to being fully present on earth as an affirmation of being present. Grounding integrates higher levels experiences into the physical body and neurological system so they are accessible and useful instead of remaining as an etheric experience or causing discombobulation and nature. Being in nature is a key element to our inner connection because it connects us deeply to being fully present in the moment. Practice being in nature and noticing the colors in the sky around you, odors, the movements of clouds, wind or the lack of wind, temperature changes, the sounds of wildlife around you, movements of plants, noticing your feet on the ground. When there's a forest, you can do forest bathing, which is walking under the trees and breathing in the essential oils that are released. Go outside in the night and look up at the stars. Exercise and movement. Having a regular daily practice of movement helps to keep balance in our physical body, mind, emotions, and spirit, whether it's yoga, swimming, walking, dancing, hiking, biking, contributes to processing and integration of experiences, and it also contributes to us getting good sleep. Community and connection. As social beings, it's helpful for us to have people around us who we do not negatively judge, who don't negatively judge our experiences. While some people might think we're crazy if we share experiences, others will understand. An example of how some people respond negatively and others do not is in the film Aerial Phenomena with psychiatric medical doctor John Mack interviewing the children in Rwanda, Africa in 1994. There are links below to Aerial Phenomena. Knowing there are people with whom you will not share your spiritual awakening experiences is significant, as there are those people who will not understand. They'll judge you as possibly crazy, resulting in changing their ability to relate to you and you to them. Trust that intuition and find people who will listen. You can listen and share if you wish to spiritual awakening experiences in a couple different groups, and there'll be links to them below. One is the Spiritual Awakening International Group, and another is the International Association for Near-Death Studies. Isolation, connecting, and creative projects. The opposite of finding community is isolation, excessive inward focus, and detachment. People isolate when there's no one to speak with about an experience, which can be a form of intuitive perception. However, finding ways to connect by caring for animals, creatures, and plants is beneficial, as is volunteering. Being in nature and having creative projects helps to stay connected within, integrate, and not isolate. And that doesn't mean that sometimes there are times of having time to ourselves is different than isolation. It's permission. When we give ourselves permission to remember, it sometimes opens memories we've put far away because we were too busy or it wasn't time. It's now time to remember. This is a time of transformation, expanding our consciousness through methods that simultaneously benefit our physical body, mind, emotions, and spirits as individuals, and collectively changing the paradigm. Thoughts and words. Becoming aware of our words in our head and what is spoken is part of our spiritual journey. Observing the energy of our conversations, how we connect with people, noticing if the content is uplifting, supportive, creative, and dynamic and positive, or complaining, gossiping, snarky, or generally negative. When it's negative, it's the inner critic that can run rampant unless we start to notice and change. That's why there are certain practices that are beneficial for developing the observer, compassion and kindness. Practicing compassion and kindness towards ourselves is the process of our spiritual journey, and sometimes difficult when we have an inner critical voice and we were brought up to not identify our needs and we may be unfamiliar with the process. Practicing kindness towards ourselves means we notice when it arises, but we still keep goals, we set intentions, and participate in daily practices that continue to build the observer and become more refined in observing and noticing. Kindness and compassion recognizes when we're going through a challenging time, listening to our needs and trusting ourselves, knowing it is unfolding. Honor your own sensitivities. When people have a spiritual awakening experience, there are often changes in sensitivity levels. This can be from a one-time experience or multiple experiences. What once was something that was accepted and part of life needs to be adjusted or is no longer desirable at all. These changes can be from colors of clothing, people we want to be around, places we want to go or we don't want to go, listening to certain sound patterns or music, being around certain odors, changes in our ability to perceive, and auditory changes, receptivity, changes in relationships, careers, and life direction. And also seeking out ways to be harmonious and to be of service. The dark night of the soul. This video is not about spiritual awakening emergencies, which can occur as a feeling of separation and inability to cope with what is happening in your life. Going through a dark night of the soul can be arduous and difficult. Resources for spiritual awakening emergencies are included below. Daily practices. Daily practices that continue training our body, mind, emotions, and spirit to accept and trust experiences and also to expand our consciousness, assist in many different ways. Releasing ordinary consciousness, regularly accessing alpha brainwaves and deeper that are not only healing, but also develop our connection to our intuition, insight, problem solving, and creativity. They all create neural pathways, they build the immune system, and they also release depression and anxiety. They build a reliable bridge. These same practices release trauma and create balance and calm, emotional and mental regulation. Using these specific sound patterns and rhythms are beneficial as a daily practice because they're easy to follow and can be used anywhere, and they deepen over time with continued use. Thanks for watching, and please like and subscribe and check out the 3 Malete programs.